So there's a little bit of coolness in the air, and it's kind of signaling the feeling of fall coming along. So here in the Midwest, if you're a homesteader or a farmer, that pretty much means harvest season. Very busy time of the year. So of course, you know, during fall, a lot of people think of pumpkins. A lot of times we'll get, you know, frost mid-October. It's not unusual for it to snow sometimes in Halloween. And so what that basically means is that we gotta plant our pumpkins just a little bit earlier. And so we have to get them to stay orange and stay fresh all the way until Halloween, so we can kind of keep them displayed. You know, a lot of people like to put them on their front porch, kind of decorate for the holidays. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys how you can keep your pumpkin for as fresh as possible. And you can also care for it if you are wanting to, say, cook it and use it for pies or breads or anything like that. It's actually very good in soups and a lot of different fall dishes. Very versatile crop. A lot of people don't use it as a crop, and that's really a shame to see them, you know, rotting on people's porches when it's a very good and healthy food to eat. So first off, I just want to say that if you buy, you know, your pumpkins at like a grocery store, if you're not sure where they came from, if you didn't actually grow them yourself, there is a chance they could be sprayed, you know, with pesticides, herbicides, and all that stuff. So just be cognizant of that, be aware of that, know that is a chance. So the best thing to do, and the stuff that I have done, either get them from local growers that I know don't use any pesticides or herbicides, or I'll just grow my own, which I did this year. Pumpkins are super easy to grow. Funny little story, we've actually had pumpkins grow in the middle of our yard. The dogs will eat the pumpkin seeds and they'll poop out in the yard or whatever. We forget to pick one up, and it just grows out in the middle of the yard. So we see the leaves, we know it's a pumpkin or something, so we just kind of let it grow, and we'll grow pumpkins from dog poop. So it's kind of disgusting, but I'm just trying to tell you how easy it is to grow pumpkins. Sometimes you grow them on accident. Now, I definitely wouldn't recommend eating a pumpkin grown from that. It's probably okay. I'm not gonna be the one to do it, okay? I've ate some pretty gross stuff, but that's just too much. So let's get into our video. Let's go pick a pumpkin, and I'll start going over the things that you can do to keep it fresh for a very long period of time. Real quick, guys, I don't want to waste your time, but you gotta see this. It's not something you see every day. So I had a hen that wanted to lay on eggs, right? So I wanted a baby duck, but the ducks wouldn't lay on the eggs. Of course, they call that, you know, when a hen gets broody. I switched up, put some duck eggs underneath of her with the other chicken eggs. And actually, none of the chicken eggs survived, but the duck egg obviously did survive. As you can see, she's out here hanging with her new baby, healthy chick, that she absolutely loves, and you couldn't tell her that it wasn't biologically hers because they love each other. And isn't that cute? So as you can see here, we have a nice, big, healthy looking pumpkin, and that's the first point. Before you start anything, hopefully you can pick your pumpkin from the vine, whether you're at like a pumpkin patch or you're growing your own. You want to make sure that the pumpkins that you pick are free from any blemishes or any rotten spots, because you're going to be fighting a losing battle if you pick something that's already rotten, already has blemishes, maybe it's got squash bugs or something like that, and so you already start off on the wrong foot. So examine your pumpkin really carefully, feel it, make sure it doesn't have any rotten spots, and if you like it, I like to take it off from the vine and leave a stem, as most people do. You can leave as much as you want for decorative purposes, it won't hurt anything. Just like to leave about 3 or 4 inches there. Makes a nice little decorative pumpkin that you can sit out. So just so you know, guys, if you do get a frost and all the leaves die, that pumpkin has just lost all of its insulative ability, and so you don't want to let pumpkins freeze and thaw because they'll get rotten very, very fast. So there's a lot of things that are recommended to spray on pumpkins that will basically kill, you know, all your fungus and things that will cause this to rot a lot faster. So I've heard a lot of people say chlorine or bleach, like very, very low amount. If you're going to be eating this pumpkin or baking with it, I highly recommend not to use those. So what I like to use, since we do bake with our pumpkins, we like to use a 1-to-1 vinegar to water ratio. So this will basically, you just take you can take a cloth or you can spray it around there and wipe it off, and it'll essentially kill a lot of that bacteria on the outside so that your pumpkin will last as long as possible. So what we like to do, we like to cure the pumpkins, which essentially is just setting it out in the sunlight for around a week. Once the pumpkin's cured, then you can put it into storage, put it in a very well ventilated, cool, dry area, in a shelf or maybe in some dry straw in the shade. Again, just make sure it doesn't freeze. I've also seen people take fabric and wrap it up and then hang them from the fabric. So that's a lot of work, but that's definitely something that you can do. Probably the best thing though that we do is we have a shelf in the basement that we put all of our pantry supplies on, and we'll just put the pumpkins up there. Now, if you want to display them, I highly recommend, if you want them to last very long, to put them into the shade. Don't let them, sit into the sun too long. Keeping them cool is really going to help prolong their life. Concrete tends to trap moisture underneath of, like, if you set an object on concrete, you'll notice that if you remove it, it'll sometimes have moisture underneath of it. It tends to trap that moisture, and so that will again accelerate the rotting process of the pumpkin. It can also tend, so if you have warmer Octobers, if you set it on concrete, sort of like a solar bank, it really builds up a lot of heat very fast, gets very hot. So you're essentially getting the pumpkin very hot by sitting it on the concrete. So just try to avoid sitting it on concrete if you can. Really help, if you say put it in the basement, you want to put it on the floor, maybe lay down some cardboard or something like that you can sit that on top of, and that'll help a lot. So the main points are keep it ventilated, keep it cool, and keep it dry. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you guys can get your pumpkins to last as long as possible. And I really encourage you, if you haven't ever tried it before, there are breads and a host of other different things that you can make with pumpkins. So if you've gotten your pumpkin from a safe place, you know where it's come from, and you feel comfortable, I highly encourage you to try to make something out of it. Very good, and it's a shame to let it go to waste. So make sure you subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of stuff. Subscribing will help me get to my goal of 1,000 subscribers so that I can begin to be monetized, and that monetization will only help me make better quality videos. I can educate on homesteading and the modern pioneering lifestyle. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you next time.